Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. Today I want to talk to you guys about the latest few books that I have read recently. And again, I think I have more than 5. I try to do 5 by 5s, but then I forget to do a wrap up and then I accumulate more than 5. So here we are. The first is Three Women by Lisa Taddeo, and you might have heard all about this one because it has been everywhere. It's been in my store's bestseller since I believe the second week that it came out, and it's just been pretty much everywhere. And it is a non-fiction sort of social sciences, women's studies type of book about the lives of these 3 women, one of which had a relationship with her teacher, and so we're seeing the repercussions of that in her life. One of which is married to a man who likes to see her and know that she is with other individuals sexually. And third, about a woman who is not touched and is not desired physically and sexually by her husband. And it is really an exploration of desire, of female desire, of how women for such a long time haven't really been allowed to explore what they want sexually, how we will do things to please our partners, especially in heterosexual relationships. We will take a backseat on what we want in order to be deemed desirable and to appease and not create sort of turmoil in our relationships, because maybe what we want may differ from what our partner wants. And it's really just a deep dive exploration into these emotions. And she just specifically chose to focus on these 3 women and their lives and how they may be viewed by the outside world, how they are viewed by themselves and by their partner, and the way that they choose to live with the decisions that they have made. And it is written so beautifully, so amazingly. Lisa Taddeo can just freaking write. I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop listening to the stories of these women and trying to wrap my head around what they were feeling, and trying to compare what I felt to what they felt and what I might do in their situation. And it was just astounding, and it's one of my favorite nonfiction reads in such a long time. Definitely one of my favorites of the year. I definitely understand the hype, and I highly recommend it. It was exquisite writing. It was so good. Then we have Bodega Dreams by Ernesto Quiñones, and this talks about our main character Chino. He lives in Spanish Harlem, and he grew up in the streets and kind of very gritty lifestyle, and it's written in a way that reflects that. And it's just about how he came up in Spanish Harlem and how he was in his youth, and how now he's grown and he's married the girl that he always liked in high school, and they're having some money problems, and he is introduced by a friend of his to our Willy Bodega Dreams, and our story sort of takes off from there, from the relationship that Chino creates with Willy Bodega and what they want from each other, and simultaneously what they want for their people and for Spanish Harlem and for Latinos, and what we mean within the American dream and what we think of when we think of that with relation to ourselves when we move here, when our families move here. And it was amazing. I loved it so much. I couldn't stop reading it. It felt so real and so true, and I felt like I knew someone like every single one of these characters. I feel the same way that I think the character Chino, I think, reflects a lot what Ernesto Quiñones might feel about a lot of things. At least that's the impression that I got. And the way that he feels about like Hispanic evangelism is the same way that I feel about it. And what I loved was how he shows that no matter what we're doing, there isn't any stereotypes in this. It all felt very real. He shows how hardworking we are as people, what we will do for each other, for our community, for the people that we live with and that we love, and that we will do whatever it takes to move forward. And Willy Bodega really has these dreams about Spanish Harlem and what he can do. And he's like, well, if these white men have been able to do it, legal or not, why can't I? Like, ultimately, what I want is the betterment of my people and my community. And he has these very romantic dreams about the things that he can achieve. And it's sad, but it's hopeful, and there's a lot of different layers to this novel, and it just felt very familiar, and it felt very real and gritty and true, and I really loved it. Then I read this tiny little short story. It's really meant for kids, and it's meant for the Christmas time, but it's a bilingual story that I listened to on audio, and it's called Mimi's Parranda, or La Parranda de Mimi by Lydia M. Gill. And it's talking about how our main character Mimi lives in New York, and she goes to Puerto Rico every December to celebrate Christmas in Puerto Rico. And so she's so excited because Christmas is coming, and she knows that she can pack up her bathing suit because she's going to Puerto Rico. She's going to swim, she's going to be in the sun, and then she can't go. And so she's so sad because one of the things that she was most looking for was the parranda, or one of the ways in which Puerto Ricans celebrate Christmas, which is essentially going out caroling, but it's like caroling turned up to volume 100. You wake up everybody in your neighborhood, everybody joins you and kind of moves on from house to house. Everybody's drinking and eating, and it's lasts all night, and it's very loud and fun, and I loved him. And so that's what she was most looking forward to, and because she can't go to Puerto Rico anymore, she's very sad that she's gonna miss the parranda. And so her friends get together and throw her a parranda in her house in New York, and it's just really sweet, really short. It's like literally it's for kids, but it was really cute, and I will probably re-listen to it again during Christmas time. And like I said, it was bilingual, so I would like do a whole paragraph in English and then a whole paragraph in Spanish, the same exact thing. But it's nice if you have a kid that's sort of like learning Spanish or learning English, and they're Puerto Rican. They'll have a lot to sort of learn about and also relate to. Then I read a debut collection of short stories called Love War Stories by Ibelis Rodriguez. This is an indie published book. It's published by Feminist Press. And this was a great collection of short stories. They were very like real and stripped back, and just showing you different ways in which Latina, especially Puerto Rican women, deal with love, and how maybe we're trying to escape the legacy given to us by our moms who failed in love. Maybe our moms are very romantic about love and we're not. So it's the ways in which sort of love and war come together a lot in the lives of Puerto Rican women as they're growing older, as they're exploring love and learning what that is. It talks about sexuality, it talks about religion and how that plays into it. And there was a lot that is put in a short little book, and I really enjoyed it. As always, there are some that you like better than others. The first one was really good. It's called El Que Dirán, which means what they'll say, or kind of like, it's kind of like that constant worry. And if you're Puerto Rican, you've always known about this. It's this worry about what the neighbors will say or what friends will say, and it's how you live your life a lot of times based on what others will say about you. And yeah, no, I definitely recommend it. It was great. I'm glad that I finally got around to it. I've had it for a long time. I've had it since pretty much since it came out. Then I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and I had super high hopes going into this because it has a super duper high hype, and I enjoyed it, but not as much as I was hoping to. And I think it's because I don't know a lot about these characters' history. Like, I don't know a lot about mythology. I don't know a lot about Achilles or Patroclus, or I don't know their stories, and so I feel like I couldn't really appreciate them as much as I might have. the writing in this, I really still felt that it was beautiful, and I was invested in their story, but it didn't impact me emotionally as much as I want books to, for me to give them that really high rating that I do. It's because I feel an emotional connection to them, and I really didn't. Achilles felt one-dimensional at times, which kind of goes against what I'm saying about it having very nice writing, but that's how it felt. It felt like it was like this lyrical, beautiful writing that I could get into, but at least the character of Achilles, I felt like he stayed this way the whole time, which I feel like there could be more complexity added to him that I didn't really get. But I don't really have much to say about this, because like I said, I enjoyed it, but I think I could have enjoyed it more. But the reason I didn't enjoy it more is kind of my own thing. I don't know a lot about these characters. I feel like maybe if you do, you might feel the way that a lot of other people feel about these books. Then I read The House on the Lagoon by Rosario Ferre. This is a family drama, literary fiction. This was a finalist for the 1995 National Book Award, and it was great. We have two unreliable narrators, and a lot of stuff goes down. So we're introduced to this couple who lived in Ponce, which is where I was born in Puerto Rico, and the woman in the family Isabel decides that she wants to write a history about their family, their ancestors, and everything like that, how they got to Puerto Rico and everything like that, all the history of things that have happened in Puerto Rico while their families have lived there. And she's having a great time writing all of this. And then her husband, Quintin, finds the manuscript that she's been writing and is like, what the hell is she writing? None of this is true. None of this is accurate. She's getting all the history wrong. And it's like this very interesting book within a book, commentary within a commentary, because so Rosario Ferrer is writing the manuscript that Isabel is writing, and then Quintin reads it and then has sort of like literary interpretations of it, and it's like does a review of it almost in his head. And it's things that you as a reader might have thought like, oh, you know, she focused too much on the history and there wasn't a lot more of the sort of the narrative became stagnant because she's focusing so much on this history. And then that's exactly what Quintin would say when he would read the manuscript that was written by Isabel. And so it's almost like she is so self-aware of what she's doing, and she's kind of taking you on this ride with this couple. And it was so unique and interesting, and I loved the writing. Was lyrical and beautiful. It brought the island to life. It felt authentic. Like I said, we have two unreliable narrators, because who's telling the truth? Is it Isabel or is it Quintin who's saying that she's a liar? And then she's like, no, you're a liar. And so their life is playing out in these manuscripts, and you're starting to, the more you read, the more sort of history about them as a couple you get, and how not healthy their relationship is. And then it becomes about a lot more. It becomes about colonialism. It becomes about anti-blackness in Puerto Rican culture. It's about feminism and machismo and the oppression of women in Hispanic cultures and Puerto Rican cultures, and the fight that a lot of the sort of the youth coming up and wanting to rebel against the colonial state. And it's about so much, but you go through it so quickly, because the writing is so beautiful and it really grips you. If you enjoy literary fiction, if you will enjoy historical fiction, if you enjoy sort of family dynamics, family drama, if you want Latinx reads, read this one. Then I read this memoir / poetry collection called Shout by Lori Halls Anderson. She is the author of Speak, which is that best-selling YA book about a young woman who undergoes a sexual assault and how she handles it and deals with it going forward in her school. And it's a banned book in a lot of schools and a lot of libraries and stuff like that. And she talks about a lot of that. She talks about censorship. She talks trigger warnings for obviously sexual assault, a lot of very difficult conversations being had here. She talks about her own and about that of other women, and about how they have spoken to her, how her book has allowed so many people to come forward and share their stories. It is beautiful and raw, and you go through it very quickly because it is, you know, like verse. But it really feels like she's opening herself up to all of her readers, and she talks about her love of reading and of libraries and ignorance, and she chastises the fact that, you know, men feel entitled to women, and she's like, your dick is not that important. It is not deserving of the attention of women. And she really kind of goes off and is very honest with herself and with her readers, and I really, really appreciate it. Enjoyed feels like such a weird word to use, but I appreciated really everything that she did in this memoir poetry collection, really. If you read Speak and felt a connection to it, I recommend that as well. Then I read 2 cozy murder mysteries. I can't do one of these without talking about a cozy murder mystery, right? Like, that would just not be me. I read Murder by the Book, Beyond the Page bookstore mystery by Lauren Elliott. Our main character has recently come into an inheritance from an aunt that she didn't really remember ever meeting or knowing that she had. And she decides that she is going to move to the city in which her aunt lived and open a used bookstore, and things go awry from there. Someone seems to be trying to get rid of her. Break-ins continue to happen, and then ultimately somebody winds up dead, and she has to figure out what all of this has to do with her. She's recently faced the death of her father and the death of her fiance, and are all of these things connected? She's trying to figure all of that out, and I really, really enjoyed this one. I think if it continues like this, it'll be a new favorite cozy murder mystery. This is the first in a series, so sounds like something you like, pick it up. And then I read Hidden the Books by Jen McKinley, which is just the latest mass market in the Library Lovers mystery. It's number 9. I believe number 10 just came out in hardcover, but yeah, so it is this one right here. And like you guys know, I've talked about this now 8 times. Now this is the 9th. This is one of my favorite cozy murder mystery books series. It's about a librarian in like a northeastern town. She's in a cute relationship. She has a cute dog. I mean, what can I say about it? I love it. It's one of my friends always calls it my little old lady books. And you know what? I feel no shame. I love my cozy murder mysteries. They're fun, they're entertaining to me. What else can I say? As always, thank you for watching and for listening. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you think. Love you guys.